Okay, so in a shocking change of events, we have our huge Z18. This was the 2.0 build, but we have removed the RTX 5080 that we had prior. The 5070 Ti is right on the heels of the 5080, and I was able to save $400. Now this still has a $200 markup from retail at $949 versus the $749 retail pricing, but I can sleep better with the 5070 Ti in this build versus that 5080. But neither here nor there, let's unbox our 5070 Ti. Now, one thing I will say about this Inspire version of the card, I absolutely love it. The form factor is the best, especially for small form factor, micro ATX, small PC builds. This thing is so ideal. It is well designed, it's very sleek, and it's very mature. No RGB, just straight to the point, pure performance and overclocking. The 5070 Ti when overclocked is absolutely phenomenal. And if you get this card, do not forget that there are stickers on the fan centers. So in my humble opinion, considering the fact that I still have yet to get my hands on the 5090, I feel like the only two 50 series cards that are worth experimenting and purchasing, especially if you're coming from 40 series, is either the 5070 Ti or the 5090. All right, so now it's time to install or reinstall our Inspire MSI. Just this time it's only the 5070 Ti versus the 5080. Still got some plastic left. This thing is wrapped really well. This Corsair bridge is amazing. It makes the installation process so smooth. Sits a little crooked though. All right, little GPU kickstand right here. All right, so with that being said, our new build of the Kuge Z18 build 2.5, now that we have our 5070 Ti, which I think is the better value card. As you guys can see, Big Vision small form. These are their small form factor cards. The color choice when it comes to your build is a thing, you know, with it being like a bronze, but I like it, especially if you go with a more mature build. But you know, if you had an all white build, I don't know if that color would work. There we have it. Time to plug this up and boot this up and see what type of performance we get out of the 5070 Ti. All set up and good to go. The first thing we're gonna check is our ROPS and make sure that we have the proper amount, because we need an instant check on the ROPS. Things only supposed to be 96 and we have all 96 here. All right, so affected units would have had 88. I'm at 96. We are in the clear. So we are going to pull up our COD benchmarking tool really quick, and I'll be able to compare the 5070 Ti's benchmark directly to the 5080s. So we're at 1440p right now on this setup. This is a 1440p 360 hertz monitor. And this is a sweet spot for the, look at this, average of 179, lows of 93. There was a little slight stutter I saw in there. When we did balance on the 5080, you guys, right? I believe these are balance settings, right? Yeah, they are. 5080, 206 versus 179 FPS with the 5070 Ti. Now, again, we haven't overclocked or cranked this just yet. We're going to go into graphics, and what I'm going to do is switch it from balance. I'm going to go into the ultra setting, right? Okay, so ultra settings with the 5070 Ti. All right, this is about to get interesting.
So as you guys can see, these are the results, and I'm just as shocked as you are. The 5070 Ti on ultra settings with an average FPS of 153 frames per second with a low of 116 versus the 5080's average of 159 frames per second. Now, if this does not argue the value of the 5070 Ti in its current state or current offering, I don't know what else does. And just to be clear, this is 1440p gaming.
All right, so this is extreme settings, 1440p, full native, baby. We don't do frame generation or anything like that with competitive FPS. So on extreme settings, the 5070 Ti ranks in at 139 FPS with a 104 low.
Okay, so when we compare this to the 5080, which came in at 149 frames per second average with a low of 107, you guys can see the separation here, but also it's only by 10 frames per second. So if those extra 10 frames per second matter to you that much, well, obviously the 5080 in certain other games and predicaments and 4K gaming and so forth is going to have a competitive edge. But as you guys can see, the 5070 Ti is very much on the heels of the 5080, which allows for you to just make a decision, especially in small form factor. You know, you can go 5070 Ti, you know, take a little reduction on the wattage pull and the heat and so forth and get ideal gaming experience, especially in 1440p gaming.
But neither here nor there. In all of my testing, the 5070 Ti is dancing close enough to the 5080 for me to feel like I can justify keeping 400 and what, 30, 50 bucks in my pocket and having similar performance. Again, this is not across the board. This is not every game. This is one of the games that I play the most. So the benchmarks in here are like my starting point. But obviously I'm going to go into some other benchmarks with the 5070 Ti. We're going to see how well it actually benchmarks in other games. Okay, this is our Black Myth Wukong benchmarking tool. Right now we are set to cinematic graphics, which is the top of the top, and we are close to 60 FPS at 58. Oh, we hit 59. Listen, if I can average 60 FPS on cinematic on any card, that would be like so nice. But again, this game, you're not getting that typically on these tier of cards. You're gonna need a higher end card. Let's see what kind of average FPS we're gonna get. Oh, 58 FPS with a maximum of 67, just shy of 60 frames per second. But all in all, still impressive. No frame generation, and we're at 58. You could turn on frame generation on here and clear 60. I'm pretty sure we're actually going to do that next. Now we're going to activate frame generation, and we're going to see what type of performance we actually get at this level, at this tier. So my goal is just to clear 60 FPS with a AAA title. And frame gen, again, Black Myth Wukong is kind of like one of those AAA titles that does have a lot of movement in it. I don't know what the artifacts could be like or would be like with this frame gen on. But as you guys can see, we are clearly clearing 100 frames per second. It wasn't bad, actually. So 99 FPS average, maximum of 110. Oh, we had some motion blur on. Nobody runs that. That was the benchmark, and it was quite impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the skies. Marks remaining. Incoming LDBR. You're in the top 10. 3 squads left in the war zone. Stay alert. Gas is closing in.
All right, Solo Squad gameplay captured on the 5070 Ti Z18 build 2.5.